Hey guys, what is going on? You're checking out an all new The RCWR show coming at you for Monday night of December 9th, 2019. What is going on, guys? Thank you so much for checking out this episode. Hope your weekend was fantastic, well rested. Lee Sanders here. Gotta tell you, man, that was a good, strong main event match for Monday Night Raw this week. Rey Mysterio, the 619, getting his United States title retain over the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. A lot of shenanigans going down in those final couple of minutes there, wasn't it? I mean, man, take your pick. You had the OCs, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson getting into that bad boy, and then Randy Orton teasing as though he was going to do a little something to AJ Styles, but it didn't happen. But just the fact that Randy Orton made his appearance in there, you could essentially say it cost AJ Styles an opportunity to become the United States champion again. So a lot of high intense drama that was going on in that main event match. I loved it. I ate it all up. Loved it tremendously. Now look, one thing with regards to that whole main event match that I need to home upon. On one hand, I liked how the match between Rey Mysterio and AJ Styles was solid, but my one gripe would have to be that the match itself, we see that after the entrances, the match basically starts at about, I would say 10:45-ish, 10:46-ish, and then they take a commercial break by about 10:50 going on 10:51. You're going, okay, man, you're gonna do at least 3 minutes of commercials right there. So if we're lucky, you guys are gonna be back by 10:55, and then you're gonna have a hard, okay, we're going off at what, 11 o'clock p.m. So it's like, not really sure about that. Not really sure if we can cram all that, tell the story that we need to tell in that time frame, but they crammed it. They crammed it in there, and I didn't like the fact that it went off so rushed. I think we all can be in agreement of that. It went off so rushed. It wasn't even funny because, after all, let's face facts. What's very important right now is not a really good quality main event match between two in-ring veterans going at it for a title and maybe them being allowed to have an extra 5 minutes or so, or 10 minutes at least, to tell their story. No. That's not important. What's important is that we all kick back on the USA Network and we watch an encore episode of Modern Family, right? That's more important. Not the Temptation Island B crap that went down several months ago. No, not that. No, we need to promptly go off the air at 00:00. And if the feed gets interrupted, they gotta go off the air because, god damn it, people need to see their Modern Family. Yeah, I got a simple solution for that. See, again, what we do on this show, contrary to how some people may feel, we don't just bitch. I've never tried to do this show in a bitching format. I've always tried to do this show actually from a constructive criticism. Here's the feedback. Here's your situation here. Here's your problems with that. Here's how you rectify it. Go with that. See if that works. And look, for what they're doing here, this hard going off at 00:00 after 3 hours, I think it makes all the sense in the world. Borrow a page from AEW. Those of you that watch AEW Dynamite, yeah, it has its problems, but I will say this. Practically every single time, and you know what? WoW does this religiously with every single episode. WoW Women of Wrestling, they do this religiously when it comes to their main event matches as well, which is, hey folks, we're going to do everything we can to show you all the action that's happening here in this main event match, but if we're not able to show you guys the proper conclusion, because time restraints, we need to go off the air by a certain time, have no fear, we're going to show you everything that you had missed either the next time we join you on our next broadcast, and or follow us on social media, check out the website, and we'll have all the highlights over there. That's what WWE needs to start doing, and I'm a little bit baffled that in the earlier years when they were doing their whole thing. I want to say a little bit prior to the WWE Network, but definitely when the WWE Network was within its first year. I remember WWE was trying to encourage fans to do the whole split screen experience. And when they would take a commercial break on the USA Network, well, hey, if you had the WWE app or whatever, you were able to continue to watch all the action as Cole and the Gang continued commentating and all that. And yeah, I mean, it wasn't nothing. It was about maybe 3 minutes, maybe 4 minutes of them giving additional dialogue. But if a match had begun just maybe 2 minutes after everything was said and done and the participants made their entrances and boom, referee does the introduction, bell rings, and they're locking it up for a quick 90 seconds or maybe 3 minutes, and they went to a commercial break, you just hopped on the app and the action had basically continued. I remember they did that for a hot minute. I think this is a case right here where if USA executives are saying to them, yo man, nah, sorry, you can't get 2 minutes, you can't get 5 minutes extra, no, it ain't happening, you got to go off at 100. Then rather than that rushed, abrupt end like that, I was looking at the TV and I was a little bit concerned because I'm seeing Randy Orton in there and you're going, okay, it's 11 o'clock here. How are we doing this? How are we going off the air? Fans need to see a proper conclusion. What are we doing here? And it's just really, really, not for nothing, but this is what you have the WWE Network for as well. You're telling me that you can't have some type of and if they haven't negotiated this yet or seen if they can do this, they need to start. If you're not going to start utilizing going to your social media platforms, especially the YouTube channel alone, all the views that they stay getting on all of their clips, you're telling me you can't go live on YouTube for a hot 10 minutes and you can show additional footage, basically raw overtime. That's how you can dub it, raw overtime. You're telling me you can go into overtime and show several more minutes of that main event match so that fans can see its proper conclusion, right? Maybe see a dark match after that as well, right? Or since practically everybody has the WWE Network, you're telling me you can't go live exclusively on the network to, you know what I'm saying? So it's really weird how a lot of weeks, everything with certain main event matches, it gets very rushed and it feels like everything is so crammed and everything. But in 2020, that's something I definitely would love to see WWE improve upon. Hopefully they can definitely improve upon that. But for the little bit that we saw of that main event match between AJ Styles and Rey Mysterio, that actually was pretty good. This isn't a full-blown Raw recap show, by the way. You know how we've been doing it over here on the RCWR show. But again, key points, sprinkling some wrestling headlines and all that. And we're definitely doing our usual. We'll be on for about an hour, maybe an hour, 15 minutes at most. So whatever we don't get a chance to talk about on this episode, have no fear. We got the Wednesday night edition of the RCWR show. I know you guys definitely been representing, checking that out as well. So look, good main event match. The opening to Monday Night Raw, I did not particularly care for. Having things open up with Jerry Lawler and his divorce court segment, if you want to call it that, between Lana and Rusev. Look, man, Rusev, I was very critical of him when this story arc had began because he came off like an individual that truly does not know what it's like to be cheated on and everything. He wasn't giving the standard reactions, the typical reactions that most individuals would display when they find out that they've been cheated on and everything. And the storyline itself, you really looked at Bobby Lashley and said, well, if anybody's really benefiting from this, it's Bobby Lashley. Rusev, on the other hand, not just yet. He's not really benefiting from this. Where is the payoff for him? But at the same time, you go, well, Rusev, if it's one of those type of individuals that can make the best out of any situation that's given to him. And I think we all can be in agreement for however long this particular story arc has been playing out on WWE TV. it's really for Rusev and fans of Rusev. Rusev finally, the light switch just went off, I would say, within the past 3 weeks. And so now he has been the saving grace, if you will, of what has, without a shadow of a doubt, largely due in part to Lana, been a really bad segment, as was the case tonight. I mean, look, I think even the most hardcore Lana fan that just, oh my God, she's gorgeous, oh my God, I think even the most hardcore fan could take a step back tonight and say, okay, yeah, man, even for my standards, and I'm a bona fide Lana fan through and through, I want her to get all her opportunities, and I can't hate on her. I think even the most hardcore Lana fan would say, yeah, tonight was a bit rough. If you were a Lana fan, it was a bit rough, and I hate to come on here, and I hate to keep being redundant and say to you guys, okay, Lana, pretty face, nice tiny waist, nice looking hair, right? Great killer outfits, but that's about as far as the compliments can go and everything. And I don't like to keep saying that, but when I get a segment as bad as it was tonight, Rusev is doing his part to carry his weight. Bobby Lashley is doing his part to carry his weight. And I'm not sure who is giving Lana her instructions for tonight with the way she was executing her lines, but it just felt like it was wheels going off of a track, and she was just going sporadically all over the place. It was just almost like watching somebody that was having a fucking bipolar moment tonight. It was literally watching somebody that is just very calm, cool, collected, and is asking you, how was your day? Was it very good? Did you make sure you ate your lunch? Yeah, was the lunch good? And then all of a sudden just fucking, what are you doing? Are you stupid? What the hell are you doing? What do you mean that's not pink? It is pink. I mean, she was just very bipolar tonight. And the acting was just excruciating. I always have a running gag every year in the Sanders household with the family, because the family here, they love checking out Lifetime and Hallmark because of the holiday movies, right? Particularly the Christmas movies. And God, I tell ya, I can't stand them. I mean, you ask me straight up, the Lifetime and the Hallmark Christmas movies, they freaking suck. I mean, let's go a step further. The Lifetime and Hallmark movies, depending on what the particular subject is that they're tackling, typically you're going to get yourself a crappy movie that has a very predictable plot, and it's got a cast that is, okay, let's be honest, it's not A actors. It's not B actors. It damn sure ain't even kind of technically C actors. It kind of feels more like you're watching D actors, right? Right? So for me, watching Lana this week was, oh my God, she is just a step class below. You thought I was going to say above her. No. She's a step class below. I don't know how that's even possible, but a class below the Hallmark and Lifetime movies and actors, right? It's, oh God, like I could tolerate those guys on those channels more than I could with Lana tonight. And I just want for her to really be properly utilized and really be utilized to her strengths. And it's just sad to see where she is right now. She has that go away heat. Right? You first see her come out, you can't help, come on, the infamous Vince McMahon gif. You can't help but kick back, and you see Lana come out. Hey, now you nodding your head, you're doing the elbow jab to the stomach to your buddy, and you're pointing, going, hey, look what we got coming up here. And you're kicking back there, you're relaxing, and your mind's already wandering off and everything, and you're just, I'm in that zone. And then when she opens her mouth, it just, whatever was going on in your head, that's in your brain. I'm not talking about the other brain, but whatever was going on in your top brain, now that pretty much has just gone because Lana has just said the most annoying, irritating, just shh, don't talk. Don't talk. Don't just listen. You know, you just want to do one of those numbers. But I gotta give it up to Rusev and Lashley tonight. They really, in my part, they saved the segment from really just bombing out. But man, that was 19 minutes too long. I think we all could be in agreement. That was 19 minutes too long, dragged out way too long. You gotta have that as your opener? Come on, man. It is what it is, though. Later on in the night, we had saw Kevin Owens. And keep in mind that this was kind of tied in a little bit to the opening of Raw as well, definitely during the first hour. But we saw Seth Rollins, who was on a manhunt to look for AOP. Apparently, he got word that they were in the arena tonight. And so he was looking for them. Few people that he stopped by, asking if they seen them, know their whereabouts. They didn't have anything. He came across Rey Mysterio. And Rey Mysterio told him, hey, look, if you need some help or whatever, me and my homies, we got your back. And Kevin Owens appreciated the gesture, but he kind of wanted to take care of this himself. Rey Mysterio, no. When I say me and my homies, I mean, I'm talking about this homie right here, and he gives him that trademark. It doesn't even look like a steel freaking bat. It just looks like something that has been rolled up with a bunch of toilet paper. Which, by the way, speaking of toilet paper, I was watching Boomerang over the weekend. You know, Boomerang from Cartoon Network. And I don't know how many of you guys check that out or whatever, but I usually like to kick back on the weekends, watch some Looney Tunes, watch some Tom and Jerry and some other stuff on there. And I looked at this one particular commercial. It ties into what I just referenced with the Rey Mysterio toilet paper bat, basically. I see this commercial where they're introducing a new water Nerf gun, basically, and it's not Nerf. And I was a bit surprised that Nerf, all these years they've been at it, they did not think to come up with this. But basically, there's this water gun that you can put a roll of toilet tissue on, feed it into basically like this water dispenser, and you can shoot freaking spitballs out of it. I'm going, it's freaking ingenious. Yeah, I'm looking at my girl, I'm saying, why the hell didn't I come up with that? Like, oh my God, like I thought they already came up with that. So I thought that was really freaking cool. But yeah, I'm seeing Rey Mysterio with the freaking toilet paper bat that he's given to Kevin Owens. Okay, yeah. Well, we'll see how far that can get him and everything. Later on in the night, we saw Kevin Owens. He crossed paths with Mojo Rawley, asking him, hey, you know, what's going on? Have you seen AOP? Mojo Rawley looked at that as an opportunity to poke fun at Kevin a little bit. His form of gratitude Kevin Owens bestowed upon Mojo Rawley was a bitch slap to the face. Later on in the night, Kevin Owens goes into the ring, calling out AOP. Seth Rollins actually came out. Kevin Owens feeling that once again, Seth Rollins is just playing the mind games and he is just trying to set him up for a beatdown. No, it ain't happening. So look, if AOP's coming out, I don't care how it's going to go down. Either I'm getting my ass kicked or I'm fighting one of them, both of them at the same time. So pretty much rinse, repeat. Right, guys? Of what happened last week. Seth Rollins trying his best to tell KO, hey, look, I was not responsible for AOP coming out last week. You gotta believe me, I had nothing to do with that. Kevin Owens wasn't trying to hear any of it. So, Seth Rollins, okay, well, you know what? I'm just going to eliminate myself from this situation. You go ahead, you do what you do. I said my piece. I'm out of here. Sami Zayn popped up. This was kind of weird, too, because you're going, wait a minute. Sami Zayn is a SmackDown dude. What the hell is he doing here on Monday night? So, Sami revealed that he's much more basically than a wrestler, that he has been trying to go for his manager license or whatever, and he's getting some necessary paperwork put together. And I guess, and it really would have been nice had we seen some type of a follow-up with Sami Zayn and Mojo Rawley, because I would have liked to have known, okay, so is Sami now representing Mojo Rawley? Have they come to, I'm using quotations for those of you that's going to be listening to the audio on demand and on the download, have they come to some type of an arrangement where Mojo Rawley is going to take him under his wing, kind of like what he did with Nakamura, and pretty much go from there? what are we doing there? Because if it's a WWE.com exclusive, or if it's a Twitter exclusive or a YouTube exclusive, I don't know anything about that. So if anybody wants to shed in a little bit of light before we end the broadcast that something like that did happen, post a link and we can all watch it together or listen to it together and see what the hell had happened there. But Kevin Owens beat the crap out of Mojo Rawley. Continued on looking for AOP. He finally did come across AOP. He actually remembered that AOP had came in a vehicle, like some type of a minivan or whatever. So he was beating the crap out of that with his Rey Mysterio bat. Thought AOP was in there. They were not in there. He opens it up and looks like he sees something in the back. He's not really sure what it is. He's getting ready to grab it because when he opens the back doors, it looks as though something, maybe somebody is in there, but you're not really sure. It definitely looks like there's some type of weird debris. Something weird was back there for sure. But you can see that there was something that caught his eye and he was getting ready to grab it. AOP beat the holy crap out of him. Well, whatever that thing was, we did see it. It actually was, in fact, a hooded person backstage chilling, and the person took its hood off, and it was none other than Seth freaking Rollins, who basically said to Kevin Owens, hey, sorry, you brought this on yourself, beat the crap out of him, gave him a curb stomp, head hitting that nice ice cold pavement. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. Now, at this point, you're looking at that and you're kind of going, gee, I don't know if we should have had that placed right where it was. Don't you think it would have made a little bit more sense to maybe have that end Monday Night Raw? Don't you think that would have made more sense? But then again, maybe this might have been a Paul Heyman audible, and the last thing he wanted was for something impactful like that to be the last thing that, well, from a TV viewing perspective, we're good. But for those in attendance, and basically they're watching the last 10 minutes of the programming on a Titantron, you could kind of say, that's a little cheap. Come on, send us home happy. Give us something in the ring. Like, come on, seriously? So, but I wish that would have been something that would have ended Monday Night Raw. And then you could have basically gone into next week, and if you wanted to have Seth Rollins kick it off, explaining his actions or tease what he did to Kevin Owens next week throughout the course of the first 90 minutes for next Monday's episode, then that would have been an okay move to do as well. But they did have Seth Rollins come out, right? I always say leave people wanting more. That's my whole thing. You've already got people's curiosity. You've already got their attention with what Seth had did. You've got a pay-per-view that you're trying to sell the hell out of, which, by the way, I don't think this pay-per-view, stranger things have happened, cooler things have happened. I hope this pay-per-view does well. It just does not feel like TLC season, even though it is. You feel where I'm coming from? It doesn't feel, the best way I can describe it, you know how usually you get these tables, ladders, and cheers pay-per-views, and you're so excited because you know you're going to be in for some really solid quality matches? Well, this Sunday, it just feels so lackluster, right? And yeah, I talked about this last week. I said, my God, we're about less than a week and a half away. You guys remember this. I said this word for it. I said we're less than a week and a half away from TLC. And we've really yet to do a hard sell going into this TLC event. It almost just feels like an afterthought. What the hell? And so, to just kind of get the vibe I was having this week, I mean, it got to a point I actually had to look up the match card just to see the matches. And I don't even know if we're going to talk about TLC. I think we'll go ahead. We'll talk about TLC. We'll run down the card real quick, and I'll definitely give some picks. I will definitely do that, but I do want to let you guys know if they're going to add some other matches, like the best I can do is, if they don't announce anything by Wednesday, then what I'll probably end up doing, if you're following me on social media, I'll give an updated card, and any new matches that are added on top of the matches we're covering tonight, I'll offer my picks for those as well. But yeah, that just leave them wanting more, I always say. But to see Seth Rollins come out afterwards and explain his actions, your man over here took down as best as I could the notes for tonight. Because I played this back twice because the Seth Rollins promo tonight, I don't care what anybody says. I know that some of my friends and colleagues, and some of you listeners, some of you WWE fans out there, I know you all have just, you know what? Seth Rollins, he's tried it time and time and time again. Man, I am done. I've had enough of this guy. Some of you are like, I don't even think a heel turn could help this dude. If his life depended on it, he is just D-O-N-E done already. I'm out. I've been out on this dude. I don't care. But I can recognize, it takes a bigger person to kick back and recognize that, well, wait a minute. This is a really intense, passionate promo. I'm really feeling this. Wait a minute, he's got my attention. And I know I have been very critical of Seth Rollins over the years. I've poured it on extra these past couple of months, right? But even me, the most critical Seth Rollins fan, even I have to take a step back. And that's the one thing that I've been very consistent about. I don't want people thinking that I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth, because I've always been consistent with Seth Rollins. I have always said his in-ring work, he's solid. Much like Roman Reigns. When you see his name is on the paper, or you see he's got a match coming up, you're like, oh, hey, Seth is in the house. Okay, I know it's going to be an entertaining match. My gripe has always been the connection with the crowd, the promos, feeling his passion, feeling his energy, right? I don't care if it's good energy or bad energy. I just want to be able to walk away and really feel his character. And tonight was the first time, and I dare say, I will jump out there and I will go there. As long as I have been watching Seth Rollins on the main roster, for me personally, this was, other than when he betrayed the Shield and he had that white hot afterwards promo and everything, this for me, what he did tonight, what he said tonight, hammering those lines down, showing no cracks, showing no break in remembering those lines and executing them. I thought overall what he said on the mic tonight was stronger than what went down with him betraying the Shield and his speech for why he did what he did to his brothers in the Shield. That's just me, to each its own. And I had my TV cranked up pretty loud. I saw that there were people that were saying, he wasn't getting the reactions. Beth was getting the reactions, and I had my TV blasted, and contrary to how some people have felt, there were legit people that were booing the hell out of Seth Rollins. So, it did not sound piped in to me whatsoever. I mean, I'll definitely go back, because I always automatically have Raw recording on my DVR. So I have no problem going back. And this is a shout out to anybody that was at Raw tonight. So I know some of you guys like to hop online or check out shows on the downloads and see what people had to say about that respected Raw for the city that you saw it in and everything. If you live out there and everything, let me know. You can get at me all throughout social media, or, depending on how you're checking this out. If you're checking out the webcast version, you can, interact that way. But let me know how the reactions were, particularly for that Seth Rollins segment, because the way it played off at home was that there were a decent amount of people. And it wasn't like, out of 100%, it kind of felt to me like it was about 75% of the crowd that was booing Seth Rollins. And I ate that up. But yeah, Seth Rollins having some key moments there, and some of the stuff that he had said tonight, basically saying, what do you want from me? What the hell do you want from me? We used to get along. Somewhere along the way, it went wrong. I don't take any nights off. I fight through all of my injuries. I lay it all out there on the line for you
the fans every single week. I stick my neck out for you guys, not just in the ring, but outside of the ring as well with the media. And what happens with me? What do I get? What's the things that I get? I get spitted on. I get disrespected. I told the entire world I had nothing to do with AOP last week, but you guys listened to that asshole Kevin Owens, and I'm kind of paraphrasing. He didn't call him asshole, but I'm paraphrasing here. He says Kevin Owens, and you guys are like sheep. You're following everything that he says and he feels. So basically, you guys are calling me out. You're calling me a liar. And he said basically, I came out here last week saying the same thing, and that was the truth. I did not have anything to do with AOP coming out and attacking Owens last week. Once again, I'm in a position where the truth is not good enough. I brought home to Raw the WWE Universal title not once, but twice. And I took it away from Brock Lesnar. I beat this guy twice to try to bring the big gold back home to you guys, and that still was not enough. You want to push me? It's time for me to push back. Your negativity has become a self-fulfilling prophecy that has turned your fiction into fact. And as a result of that, it's turned him into siding with the AOP. So it was beautifully executed. I mean, if there was one of a couple of highlights I could point out from Raw tonight, other than the Humberto Carrillo taking on Andrade, which was a fantastic matchup. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But also there was also the Aleister Black taking on Akira Tozawa. That was solid. Rey Mysterio, AJ Styles. As far as promo segments go, this was the promo segment of the night that I had thoroughly enjoyed. And I can appreciate somebody that is making the effort. They're making the strides to try to really be invested into whatever the story arc is going on with them and everything. And Seth just feels, this is my 2 cents from a distance here, my opinion, but for me, when Seth was doing his thing, when he betrayed the Shield, when he was doing J&J security and all that, I liked him as a heel. I never looked at him and said, he'd be a good babyface. I always looked at him as a heel because he had a smug arrogance about him and everything. And for me, the babyface run long ran its course long time ago. Him as the main antagonist right now, it's perfect timing. It's just perfect timing right now. And if that means that eventually, long term, if that means eventually it's going to be a situation where a heel Seth Rollins, you never know. Once they figure out what's going to happen with the 2 titles that they've got right now, kind of technically over on SmackDown, unless Lesnar is going to pop up on Raw again, then you got an interesting dynamic where eventually, if you wanted to pull the trigger, you could have Seth become a heel champion again, only long-term wise to put over a guy like Ricochet. I still think he has leaps and bounds to go as far as improving on the promo and everything. His promo work, it's coming along, but he needs more, much more. He's pretty much at that point of where, those of you that remember John Morrison in his WWE career early on, Ricochet promo-wise, I would honestly say he's at that point where John Morrison was, and also where I would say Seth Rollins was. So he is still, he's still finding his way with that and everything, and that's fine. But if that's the story you eventually want to tell, as Rollins and Ricochet, that would actually be pretty damn good. You would actually do pretty damn good with that. So in essence, Rollins is blaming the fans. Think about the storyline. Rollins is blaming the fans for him defecting over to the dark side because he's tried to be the nice guy. He basically tried to kiss the babies, tried to be the people pleaser and everything. Keeps getting shitted on, tucks his tail between his legs or, puts his head down, keeps going to work, continues to do it over and over and over again, and keeps getting shitted on. I love it. I love when you can have a situation where everything that's being said about this man on social media to podcasters that are ripping him a new you-know-what, and how everything just basically manifests itself and turns it into what we have that's before our eyes right now. Now, it's still relatively early here, right? But the eyebrow is now raised for most WWE fans saying, okay, this is what you're doing with Seth. Okay, I'll bite a little bit. I'll see where this goes. Like I said at the top there, some people have already cashed out on Rollins. But you got a decent amount of people, okay, well, all right, this is kind of what we've been wanting. We've been wanting to see him go back heel. All right, let's see what happens, right? So WWE is in a very delicate situation right here. This was needed, though. I think anybody would be in agreement. Look, as far as him going back down to Seth Rollins, and Gino, I do watch New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm just not going to talk about it tonight. Usually I try to save all that for the Wednesday show since we go a little bit more all over the place. But I do have some wrestling headlines I do want to get into, but just kind of following up on Seth Rollins and everything. Seth Rollins is in a very delicate position right now because this is basically make or break. And if things just does not work out cohesively, you understand something. If you got Paul Heyman that's cooking up this stew, and he's adding these ingredients like Seth and a few others. So this is a very delicate situation right now. And look, I'm going to go for the ride. I want to see where this is going to go. But they got to be very, very careful, and they got to be very smart strategically in how they're trying to book Seth Rollins right now. Because remember, there was that one point, what was it, Extreme Rules, where you had him and Becky, and they were doing their thing against, who was it, Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans, right? I think it was Extreme Rules, if I remember the pay-per-view right. If not, you guys can correct me, because you always do, and I appreciate that. Love you guys. But it kind of seemed like, and I remember referring to this a couple of weeks ago, that was your kind of a turning point there, where Baron Corbin, for both men, for Baron and Seth, Baron was so goddamn red hot that if there was ever an opportunity to go on ahead and pull the trigger and have Becky and Seth lose their titles in one night, that would have been the perfect opportunity, and have both of those guys chase after them for the next little bit. That was your opportunity, but since you did not take that opportunity, it was kind of a case where, okay, so now what? And so that was a missed opportunity. So they got to be very delicate in their long-term plan for this new, and I kind of like how they bended it there a little bit, because you've got Seth Rollins basically saying, hey, look, I was a good guy here. I was the good guy. The one time I didn't do anything wrong. And you guys insisted that I did do something, but I didn't do something. But because you guys kept insulting me and just been giving it to me throughout social media all these months, fuck you guys. I'm done kissing you all's asses. Fuck you all. I'm over here now, right? So I like how you created that. So in essence, you could kind of say that Seth Rollins is almost a sympathetic character to a certain degree, but still an asshole at the same time, because it's okay, well, the hell with what the people say, right? If it's a case where you don't care what the hell the people say, and you're just gonna mind your own business and all that other shit with Kevin Owens and everything, then why attack him, right? So you've kind of have these nice little, I can't wait to see how WWE, Paul Heyman in particular, is going to be stringing this all together. I'm most curious. Other than that, I did tease earlier that Aleister Black had a solid matchup against Tozawa. It actually was pretty good. I enjoyed that. A little bit technical there. Humberto Carrillo getting an upset over Andrade. Zelina Vega doing a little bit of interference there. And sadly, it backfired on her. And you saw a little bit of dissension there between Andrade and Zelina Vega. So you're kind of looking at that and you're going, so is this the beginning of the end for this beautiful union here? And I hope not. I hope what had happened tonight was just Andrade just being a little bit hot-headed and him and Zelina butting heads, and it's one and done and it's pretty much squashed. Because just looking at the current roster right now, if you were to have Zelina Vega defect from Andrade, okay, well, who exactly is going to be stepping up to the plate to possibly manage Andrade next? Because unless his English has gotten leaps and bounds better, I'm having a hard time picturing him on his own being able to hang there with the promo work. Not unless you're going to start giving him, we were just kind of referencing New Japan there earlier. Not unless you're going to start doing the New Japan stuff and he's speaking his native language and you're going to have the English subtitle. What I've been an advocate for a couple of years now. And then for those that's in attendance, you can do the English subtitle, but you could do a English voiceover actor as well. That way the people in the arena know what is being said and everything. I mean, unless you're going to go in that direction, then it's a case of, okay, well, who potentially could be managing Andrade next, right? And keep in mind, this has to be a person that is not just going to be a valet, but is also going to be wrestling as well. So yeah, that's where you kind of have a little bit of a... Now, some people will say, well, what about Liv Morgan? She's not doing anything. That would be a interesting thing, but Liv Morgan, they did a video package for her tonight. She's coming back. Coming soon. It's Liv Morgan's Makeovers, or however they dubbed it. That's going to be happening soon. So she's about to be back into the mix. Also, they introduced a new segment tonight. I actually enjoyed that segment. It was the Street Profits, and I think their segment was called the Monday After the Weekend Report, or basically it was playing off of Saturday Night Live's Weekend Update, and it was just a WWE version, and they were tackling everything that was going to be happening at TLC. I thought that was smart. That's what made me really love and appreciate the Street Profits in the first place. I saw little bits and pieces of them on NXT before they made the move to the USA Network, but seeing them appear in those segments on Raw, kind of like the Deadpool of the WWE universe, recognizing all of these things that's going on. Deadpool meets the Watcher, right? They're doing all these cool things that's going on, and nobody's really interacting with them. It's nice to see them back into that whole kind of realm again with the Monday After Weekend Report, whatever the hell they're dubbing that. It sounds like it's got a catchy name to it, but I just can't help but wonder. I may be the only guy that's going to say this too. So remember where you heard it. You heard it here first. I wouldn't be surprised if for your next WrestleMania, if the Street Profits had took on Michael Shea and that guy, his co-host, that happens to be the boyfriend of Scarlett Johansson. I wouldn't be surprised if subliminally what we got tonight was maybe the start of some seeds that were planted to somehow see Michael Shea and dude from SNL eventually collide with the Street Profits. Yeah, I know I don't want to see those guys again either, but remember, you heard that here first, so just kind of marinate on that for a little bit. Yeah, but I mean, other than that, Raw this week, I don't really think there's anything else I'm missing key point wise. If I am, you guys can definitely point it out, but there's really nothing else I really want to talk about from Raw this week. So yeah, getting back to Gino's question earlier, in case you guys that are listening and you don't see the webcast, you're not going to watch the webcast. Gino was asking if I watch New Japan Pro Wrestling. I do, but okay, so here's my subscriptions, okay? I've got Disney Plus. I've got my iTunes Match subscription. I've got Netflix. I've got HostGator for the website. I've got what else do I have? I also have GoDaddy. That is for SSL and some other shit. Everything's kind of tied to the website. I've also got monthly fee for Discord. Those of you that are in the Discord server, there's certain features that normally would not be made available, but is available because I'm paying for that. And then I've got my Spotify subscription. What else do I have? I know I'm forgetting some other subscriptions. I'm thinking there's at least 2 more subscriptions. So in essence, I'm losing about, I am losing about probably roughly $80 to $100 in extra income on a lot of the subscriptions that I have. And I kind of get to that point where it's, okay, we need to downsize here because, watching all of these things or listening to all of these things. And then on top of that, oh yeah, well, these guys are getting ready to put out a pay-per-view. Perfect example, NWA Into the Fire. If you listen to last week's show, I believe it was last Wednesday's show, and I had put the hell over out of NWA. That was my first time talking about NWA. If you didn't check out last week's show, go listen to that. But I actually ordered their pay-per-view. And if you guys remember, I told you guys if you ordered the pay-per-view before December 7th, you guys could get the pay-per-view for $19.99. Whereas you order it after the 7th, you're going to have to pay like $25, $26, $27 or something like that. So I'm actually going to be watching Into the Fire this coming weekend. And I'm actually going to be streaming that in a Discord server. So anybody that might be interested, now's a good time. You don't have to pay for anything. Just join the Discord. Link is in the episode description. So on top of watching the usual guys, on top of watching NXT, AEW, MLW, Ring of Honor, WoW Women of Wrestling, whenever they are in action, Impact Wrestling, you guys got to forgive me, but I'm juggling this, and I'm not saying this as a woe is me or bitching, so please don't take it like that, but I watch so much wrestling on top of working my stressful 9-to-5 job, on top of trying to plan a wedding and plan a honeymoon and plan what we're going to be doing for that well-deserved vacation, because I haven't had a vacation. I have not taken a paid vacation. I've just been working for the past 10 years now. Yeah, your man, after a while, like, I gotta tune out. I gotta decompress. Take this past weekend, for instance. I decompressed like a motherfucker. I finally, and don't worry guys, we got some more wrestling headlines we can get into. It's just quick sidebar chatter. That's how we do it on the show sometimes. Finally, over this past weekend, me and my girl, we have finally sat down and we had watched The Irishman. I was trying to watch it like the minute it came out. I was about to watch it, and my girl, like me, she's a big Al Pacino, Robert De Niro fan, and she's like, oh, no, I want to watch that with you. I'm like, oh, okay, I heard a lot about it myself. Yeah, I want to watch it with you. I like those guys. Okay. So I was playing off of her schedule because her work schedule was a little bit hectic. And so we finally sat down over the weekend and we watched it, and we had so much energy afterwards. We spent like about 25 minutes talking about the movie, and then I remembered at the last second, oh, wait a minute, Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Martin Scorsese, and Joe Pesci, they all had actually sat down for about almost a half hour and they talked about the movie. And she was like, really? I said, yeah. She's like, well, see if you can pull that up. So I pulled that up, and so we're watching that. And for me, there's but so much wrestling I can take. God bless everybody else that's able to, but for me, I find that usually if I don't have a weekend where I got to deal with a pay-per-view, I like basically from the last show that I do, which is, if not, the Friday show that we usually do, and I'm gonna have that go into rotation. The SmackDown recap show, I'm gonna have that go into rotation. You notice we didn't do one last Friday. I'm pretty much thinking every other Friday, just to kind of conserve a little bit of energy a bit. But yeah, it was nice to just decompress, not think about wrestling for a few days, and just do any and everything but watch and talk about wrestling. So, you need that. And when you've been doing the shows as long as I have, since 2011, and last I had counted, we're now at about 720 episodes since 2011. We've put out up to now about 720 episodes. Yeah, that's a lot of content on wrestling. Speaking of wrestling, let's get back into the mix. A couple of more headlines we got to talk about here on this edition here. So, quick heads up. Oh yeah, by the way, we were talking about Raw. One thing I do want to talk about, the Charlotte Flair Becky Lynch thing. I can't believe I almost forgot about that. All right, so Becky Lynch was in action tonight against the Kabuki Warriors. It was a 2-on-1 handicap match, right? So Charlotte comes up to Becky and says, hey, you saw what they did to me last week. You maybe want my help at ringside? And Becky goes, nah, I got this. I'll succeed where you failed. Come on, I'm the champ. I got this. And Charlotte's like, oh, okay, whatever. So it's a great 2-on-1 handicap match. It was. I actually enjoyed that. That was another highlight I enjoyed tonight. Kabuki Warriors getting the one up over Becky Lynch. You come back from a commercial break. Becky Lynch is kicking back, looking like she's got a major boo-boo on her face. And Charlotte Flair comes up to her and says, actually sits right next to her and says, so, you, me, we on against the Kabuki Warriors? And Becky's like, yeah, okay, fine. And you're like, okay, well, that's interesting. So there's Charlotte, right? Keep in mind, Becky Lynch, she's beaten up. She's got ice, she's icing her knees and all that, her back and all that other shit. So Charlotte Flair, she leaves Becky. Becky's locker room is wide open. Becky isn't even out in the hallway for fucking 10 seconds, and the Kabuki Warriors jump her from behind, screaming and all that, beating the holy crap out of her. You can't help but go, at least, and I said this, like, as soon as you see the segment, you could go back on Twitter and look at my timestamp. I said, okay, so wait a minute. Charlotte walks out of Becky's locker room, gets her ass beat by the Kabuki Warriors. She's screaming and all that. Kabuki Warriors are screaming and all that. And Becky Lynch doesn't hear the fucking screams in the hallway. Her door is still open. So call me a stickler for detail. I just kind of wish that Charlotte would have either closed the door or if you really had in mind that segment of seeing Charlotte get beaten down, have Charlotte walk and then just out the corner. Just peek it from around the corner. Just show the Kabuki Warriors just stalking Charlotte. And then go to your next match. After your next match, show Charlotte, who's basically getting ready to go into a limo or whatever. She's waiting on a ride or something, an Uber, some stupid shit. But she's at like a loading dock or whatever. And as she's getting ready to depart, right, stroller and all that, that's when you have the Kabuki Warriors attack her from behind and everything. And then that would have set up beautifully Charlotte with Becky later on. Hey, you and me, we need to team up and we need to go after these girls. What's up? Probably the $1 million question I had with that too, looking at that particular segment. Okay, so how are we going to make this match between Flair and Becky against the Kabuki Warriors happen? Because in some instances you really need an authority figure to, hey, player, what we gonna do here is a tag match, right? You kind of need that authority figure. But it was kind of nice how Charlie Caruso was backstage and she essentially caught up with the Kabuki Warriors and they issued the challenge to Charlotte and Becky, which ultimately they got wind of and accepted. So it was kind of nice how it all pieced together. But yeah, it's like, damn. So I guess if the Kabuki Warriors would have just came out, hey, Charlotte Flair, blam, 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 with a damn Glock, I guess Becky Lynch wouldn't have heard that either, huh? Door wide open and everything. Well, whatever. It is what it is. Hey, got some AEW news for you guys. AEW, they have officially announced that Big Swole and Chris Statlander are a part of the roster. Brandy Rhodes had confirmed this in an interview right before the weekend with Bleacher Report, saying that Statlander had signed on December 9th. Meanwhile, Swole had confirmed in an interview that she signed with the promotion as well. So for those of you that were complaining throughout social media over the weekend about, hey man, I'm down with diversity and all that, but these Japanese wrestlers, now that's where I will differ from you guys. I agree with the constructive criticism that's happening right now with All Elite Wrestling's women's division, but this is where I part ways. Race doesn't matter for me. I don't care if it's gender. I don't care for gender. I don't care for race. I don't care for creed, religion. I don't care for all that. What I care about the most with any wrestling promotion is storyline strength, the continuity of the storyline, the smart booking, and the match qualities. That's what I care about ultimately. And when you look at AEW, we've touched upon this a couple of shows now, and I don't want to beat the horse to death, but you see some of the problems that's going on as far as from a continuity story standpoint and everything. And it's nice that they got this type of diversity that's in it. And I mean, honestly, going into 2020, I hope that they can add even more firepower to their women's division. I hope that they can add even, oh, Gino, we got dislike bots like a motherfucker, man. Yeah, it's sad too, because we've got people that, because I actually had messaged YouTube about it, and I had asked YouTube to monitor my account closely, because they can actually now send me reports on what is going on with certain YouTube videos. And so I had told them how basically I was noticing that there was a significant spike on YouTube with the dislikes and all that. When it's all said and done, it's sadly, some loser that has nothing else better to do. They have a personal vendetta against me, and that's why they don't, but like at the end of the day, it's like they're going to do what they're going to do. YouTube is going to do what it's going to do to, okay, this is the bullshit. We're going to take those away. I don't trip over YouTube. I just happen to enjoy streaming the shows on YouTube. But let me tell you something. In 2020, guys, if you all aren't part of the whole Discord family, y'all need to start, because in 2020, once I'm able to work out all of the kinks as far as the shows go and everything, even the webcast shows, I'm looking to have everything strictly be imported through Discord. So webcast shows, all that. I'm even looking at how to basically get the shows streaming from the website, because I'm kind of getting to that point where, I don't do my shows. A lot of people have the misconception that, YouTube isn't even the main outlet. That's the funny thing. It's not the main outlet. The heartbeat for the RCWR show has always been doing the audio version, because that's how the show initially started. Before the webcast version of the RCWR show, it was always the audio version. And that's something that I've continued to be faithful to. It's just a luxury that I have the webcast version, but I'm getting more away from, if you're asking me, well, why leave YouTube? I'm more so, it's not about totally leaving YouTube. I mean, from time to time, I'll definitely post some bonus stuff up, but I'm more interested in leaving YouTube because I want more creative freedom. That's what it all boils down to. I just want more creative freedom. I want to be able to get away from the bullshit that goes down with the YouTube mobs, the dislike mobs, the spam bots, and all the silly rhetoric bullshit that comes with that, but I don't care for the dislikes. I mean, I'm going to be 39 this weekend, or next week. I'm going to be 39. I ain't got time to be tripping over why something is being disliked. Like, that's not me. But anyway, let's stay on topic here, because sadly, and I am keeping track of the time, your boy ain't doing 90 minutes tonight. You'll be lucky if I give you guys an hour and 15 minutes and then we're pretty much done. So we had that news from AEW. And in other news, we were talking about signings and all that. Oney Larkin, shout out to him. He had re-signed with the WWE. Kind of find that convenient because just a couple of weeks ago, Oney Larkin had took shots at Triple H, saying in a post there that he deleted, but it was in response to Triple H's statement that talent should talk to management before they publicly ask for their releases. He said the mature professional thing to say would be no comment and have a private conversation, promoter to independent contractor, instead of bearing talent publicly to the media. That's how I do business. It's all about the game and how you play it. And he said all this in loud caps, because whenever he posts things on caps, he's doing it as if he's screaming and everything. But yeah, he announced on social media that he has agreed to a new multi-year contract with the WWE. So, look, at this point, you're seeing some of these people that are putting out these statements, and you can't help but wonder, okay, so who is doing this for show? Who is just maybe doing this as a bargaining chip, and they're trying to do whatever they can to get, some type of leverage on their side, ultimately to, maybe help them be in a position where they can get a little bit more money, what have you. So, when you see some of these people that are doing it, you just can't. And look, I got to give credit to Ryback, who is one of the most outspoken individuals that will talk very candidly about his time in WWE. He's definitely for the wrestlers, saying, hey, it's not as easy as you think as far as trying to get out of your contract. It's not as simple as sitting down and, hey, I want to have a conversation. I want to, I want to split from here. Is there any way we can make some moves happen? Is there any way we can, try to get me up out of here? Can we mutually part ways? Because I'm just not feeling it anymore. And, Ryback and a few others, they've said, yeah, WWE, they can be very difficult. They can play tough ball when they want to. They can make it difficult in granting you your release and everything. Whereas if you are somebody like Luke Harper, if you're somebody like Victor and Connor of the Ascension, those respected guys, they actually were granted their releases. If you're Sin Cara, these are individuals that have, with the exception of Connor and Victor of the Ascension, we really don't know, if they have been going back and forth with WWE trying to get releases from their contracts. But you do got to recognize the fact that you haven't seen anything put out by them on social media talking about, hey, we asked for our releases. The fact that they were able to do what they needed to do quietly and not broadcast it into the entire world there, that lets you know that, hey, for some individuals, there is a way for them to get the results that they need. Meanwhile, others like Luke Harper, Sin Cara, Mike Kanellis even, they sadly had to broadcast, well, hey, I went on social media and, I said what I said because I did try to do it the right way. I did try to go to management and talk to them quietly, and I've been forced to do this instead. And, it is what it is, right? So, yeah, Sunday, Sin Cara, Luke Harper, Connor, Victor, all released from their WWE contracts. I would expect there's probably going to be more releases that's going to happen. And, for me, the name that really stands out to me the most is definitely Luke Harper. I definitely would say that. Luke Harper, they missed the ball with him tremendously. A great fucking size of a man. you watch the stuff that he was doing on the independents prior to coming to the WWE, you knew what the man was capable of, especially on the microphone. And that's probably the greatest travesty of it all, is that the man wasn't given an opportunity to really let loose on the microphone. And sadly, the WWE universe is never really gonna know just what type of a special gem. I think a majority of the fans know, but I find it kind of interesting because when his release was announced over the weekend, you had so many people that were pro Luke Harper. And it's a testament of just how much respect the fans have for this guy, and the fact that so many people, wait, what? You just can't help but go, man, if WWE would have realized just from a social media engagement standpoint just how popular Luke Harper actually was with the fans, maybe that could have convinced. I don't know how much is true about Vince McMahon, and Vince McMahon is the one that I don't get this Luke Harper guy, and hey, what I'm trying to do with him, he's not executing it, I'm disappointed in him. I don't know how true those reports are. I think at this point, look, Rob Feinstein of RAW Video, he's already reached out to Luke Harper and the rest of the guys, and he's trying to set some stuff up with them for some future signings and all that. I would like to believe that, without a shadow of doubt, there's going to be some future shoot interviews in the works. But until we hear from Luke Harper about, hey, so what was going on there during your tenure in the WWE? Is it true that Vince McMahon is the one that, didn't quite understand you and, was kind of, he's the one that's going to have to shed a little bit of light on all of that and clear up some of those rumors that's out there. What's fact and what's fiction? But for me, Luke Harper, they had so many opportunities. I mean, we would be here all night just going through some of the key moments where, hey, y'all could have did something with Luke right here. Most perfect scenario, the most recent scenario, when you had that angle come about where Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan, where it appeared as though Eric Rowan was the one that, what was it, ran in the Roman Reigns or some stupid shit that went down this summer. When you had that angle that came about, man, that would have been a perfect opportunity to have Luke Harper be thrown into the mix again. And then if you still wanted there to be a scenario where Harper turned on Bray Wyatt, right? You could have easily, Harper and Rowan, once again, right? Pretty much they got each other's back. Fuck the rest of the world. You easily could have gone in that direction, but you didn't even go in that direction. There were so many unique opportunities where you could have easily inserted Luke Harper, and it just didn't happen that way. And it's unfortunate, but I'll tell you this much. Now that this man is free, and based off of what he put out there in the previous months, talking about how he had asked for release and how he feels he has a lot that he can offer to the business and everything, I feel without a shadow of doubt, yeah, serious chip on his shoulders. Yes, serious chip on his shoulders. The fire burns deep, and he is going to make WWE regret not realizing what they had in their hands. He's going to make them eat crow. And look, he still has a few years left to offer in the business, and I definitely wish him nothing but the best. It looks like the way things are going right now, supposedly, these cats, they have a 90-day no-compete clause. So the earliest that we would be able to see them do anything for a promotion is March 8th, if I remember it right. So, that's about 90 days. So unless they tacked on an extra couple of days, then March 8th would be the earliest. And your guess is as good as mine as far as where are they going to go, right? And one thing I want to touch upon, to the people that are saying, oh, AEW can't get all of these guys because then it's going to become WWE Light. It's going to be just like TNA, and it's going to be TNA Light. La, 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 la. while I do agree that you should do your best to work with the stars that you have currently on your roster and build them up properly, I also believe that if there is a unique opportunity where you have access to a really good utility player, you'd be a fool to not tap into those resources. You would be a fool. And understand something. Yeah, this person might have worked at WWE or Impact or ROH or insert that promotion. But at the end of the day, these people, these men and women, they are independent contractors. They are free agents. So they can pretty much sign anywhere they want to sign. That's if their services are needed. So, that whole thing about, I see where you guys are coming from. Don't get me wrong. I see where you guys are coming from. But at the same time, they're independent contractors. I'm like this. Okay, you're with that company now? Okay, well, I saw what you were capable of in that other promotion. I saw potential. Now that the shackles are off of you a little bit, I'm expecting bigger and better things for you. Let's see what you can do right here. And I think that needs to be the overall mentality that a lot of us need to have. I mean, look, not for nothing. We saw what happened when a guy like Christian left WWE, spreaded his wings a bit over in Impact Wrestling, TNA, and what a phenomenal run he had as the TNA World Champion. And that basically propelled him to even higher success when eventually he did come back to the WWE and all that. You look at how TNA helped a guy out like Ron the Truth Killings. And look at that, all these years later, and he is still there with the WWE. Time and time again, on top of having the fountain of youth on his side, this man is also able to find great creative ways to stay current, to stay relevant with people. And he's well in his 40s, right? So, I mean, those are just key examples that I'm talking about there. So, I mean, I'm not going to hold, this person worked at this promotion. I don't think other fans should as well. It's okay. You used to work for these guys. Okay, you're over here now. Great. Let's see what you can do. That's it in a nutshell. That is it in a nutshell. Also released. Now, I was happy to see this. I was actually at work when this was announced. Batista, the 6-time WWE World Champion. He is going to be taking his rightful place in the WWE Hall of Fame next year. Tickets for that WWE Hall of Fame, it's going to be going down in Florida. Hall of Fame tickets is going to be going on sale via Ticketmaster this Friday. Very ecstatic. Batista, I'm very happy for Batista. I'm extremely happy for the big guy. Look, I let this be no secret. I had an opportunity to chat with him for a few minutes at Awesome Con. What was it? Last year. Not this year, because this year was Sting. It was the year prior, 2018. And, I chatted with him for a few minutes and took part in his Q&A panel and everything. And the guy, you could just tell that he was at that crossroads where he felt completed to a degree. He wanted that one last match. And then, hey, Hall of Fame and all that, okay, sure, whatever, but he wanted that one more match because he just felt the timing, everything, it's perfect. And if it's not going to happen now, I'm not going to be tripping over it later, forget that. Yeah, and longtime listeners know how much of a big fan I am of Dave Bautista. I mean, come on, he's born and raised out here in the DC metropolitan area. I've been out here for so many years, couple of decades now in the DC metropolitan area. I know friends that, used to hang out with him and remember his work as a bouncer and other shit. So it's cool hearing the big Dave Bautista stories and all that. And it couldn't happen to a nicer guy, straight up. So I'm looking forward to seeing and hearing his speech and, just really kicking back as the hardcore fan that I am. And he delivered phenomenal moments during his tenure in WWE, especially when he was on top. I mean, definitely a main drawer, man. A serious main drawer. The feuds with Undertaker, the feuds with Triple H, the feuds with John Cena, man. Yeah, man, that's my boy Batista. That's my well, and that's my poor little furry daughter that's screaming her butt off right now. I dropped my tablet and she's acting like it's World War III right now. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, I'm happy for him. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Timing is perfect. I'm not gonna say long overdue or any of that shit. I am just gonna say, hey, well deserved for the big guy. If anybody deserves to go in, yeah, it's definitely him. And he did reveal on social media that as far as who's going to be inducting him into the Hall of Fame is going to be Fit Finlay. So I'm like, ooh, I need to hear, right, like Fit Finlay. So this is, if I'm not mistaken, going to be the first time in Hall of Fame ceremony history that Fit Finlay is actually saying something at the podium and all that on behalf of whoever is being inducted. So I can't wait to see. I'm sure many of you guys probably had raised the eyebrow too and said, wait a minute, Fit Finlay, what the hell? Some people may kind of question that, and they may actually go in the direction of, well, wait a minute. Why not? And you can insert whatever name you want to insert. I know some people will be like, Jim Cornette, after what went down with the shit in NWA, I don't think Jim Cornette right now. We need to let a little bit more time die down and, before we go in that direction again with Jim Cornette. But I'm very curious to hear that speech. I can't wait to hear what Finlay has to say, how he's going to lay that out. I can't wait to hear Batista's speech. The fact that he's nervous as hell right now, because now he has to come up with the speech. That lets me know he's going to put a lot of care into that speech. Also going into the Hall of Fame, as it was announced again by WWE earlier today, we've got 4 members of the NWO that's going to be going in. It's going to be the immortal Hulk Hogan. It's going to be Kevin Nash. It's going to be Scott Hall. And it's going to be Sean Waltman, a.k.a. X-Pac, a.k.a. Six. Now, Six, everybody's going, wait a minute. Why is he in there? That doesn't make any sense. And I'm with you guys. Look, I've got nothing but love for Sean Waltman. I got nothing but love for him. The trials, the tribulations, the demons that this man has been spending years in fighting, and just to see where he is right now with his life, a successful podcast, doing his thing behind the scenes with the WWE and everything. This is a guy that really successfully has been able to turn his life around for the better, and I'm happy for the man. I'm definitely happy for the man. As far as, him being part of that whole NWO thing, I don't really know about that. I just don't, because this is where you kind of have to refresh your memory on the NWO history and everything. You're going, well, wait a minute. Started off with those 3 core guys, Bash at the Beach and everything. That's where it all kicked off. And then eventually we heard that there was a 4th guy. There was somebody else in there, and it was Easy B, as I like to call him, right? Eric Bischoff. Kendall, you're going, okay, so wait a minute. And for me and a few others, this was the bigger question that was on our minds, which was, well, what is going on with Eric Bischoff? Why is he not in this? He should be part of that, because yes, and I was one of the first to say this openly on social media, and I even add Eric Bischoff. I said, hey, look, not for nothing, but the talents, the phenomenal talents in Nash, Hall, Hogan, they executed that blueprint. But that blueprint would not have been made possible had it not been presented to them by Eric Bischoff. So it was almost hand in hand. So to see Eric Bischoff not be part of this as well, the one time that you can, okay, we can get Bischoff in there. This is the way that we can get him in there. If you don't want to put him in there now look, if you ask me straight up, Lee, should Eric Bischoff go in there for the announcing contributions that he made with Vern Gagne's AWA, how he was helping out behind the scenes, building up to being one of Vern Gagne's right-hand men, essentially, before everything had collapsed with the AWA and everything. And then what he was able to do with the WCW, defeating Monday Night Raw for 83 consecutive weeks, bringing us the NWO, bringing us Goldberg, bringing us the Cruiserweight division, giving us the likes of future Hall of Famers and Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Jericho, and, say what you will, Chris Benoit, the most phenomenal, well-gifted technician to ever lace up a pair of boots and everything. Like, all of these great things. Could you, okay, he's going to go into the WWE Hall of Fame. Yes. But the story doesn't end there, does it? You've also got, even though WWE is not going to acknowledge it, because they've shown a great history of not acknowledging the, stuff in TNA and all that. Okay, so obviously we all know about the TNA stuff, but okay, let's just pretend, okay, just with everything that I just said a few seconds ago, is that enough for Eric Bischoff on his own to go into the WWE Hall of Fame? Yeah, it is. But at the same time, Eric Bischoff does like to say controversy creates, cash or whatever. But in my eyes, just off that body of work, yes. But if you kind of wanted to, I don't really think he should just go in by himself. Okay, well, surely his shoe-in is the NWA. And I know a lot of people are going, man, he must have really pissed off people in the WWE to not get the nod to go into the Hall of Fame. What the fuck? You would like to believe that he's at least going to be the inductor for those guys, right? He's at least going to have that set up. I hope so. But the fact that he's not going in, I'm not going to read too much into, man, he must have did a bad, horrific job that WWE is punishing him, because that's some of the stuff that's being put out there. And as much as I kind of want to latch on to that, because that's what makes sense, and I think that's the rationale that a lot of people have right now. Like, okay, this is what makes sense. They're trying to justify in their own brain why Bischoff isn't going in. I don't really think it'd be fair to go in that direction. And the biggest piece of advice I would say to anybody is, let's see what happens once Eric Bischoff drops his next episode of 83 Weeks or whatever show. He's got to put out some type of a statement. People have been adding him all day. They're going to be adding him into the night, going into the middle of the week. At some point he's going to be like, okay, so this is what happened. This is what's going on. And hopefully he'll be able to shed some light. Until then, I say, let's just look at it as it is. But we can all be in agreement as far as Sean Waltman going in there. And oh my God, think about that. Sean Waltman is going to have 2 rings. Sean Waltman is going to have 2 WWE Hall of Fame rings. Meanwhile, certain talents that we don't need to name, because we'll be here all night. Because you guys will go, don't forget this name and don't forget that name. And, oh, hey, how about this person? Don't forget that person. And what about this person? There's so many people that should at least be having 1 ring by now, that's long deserving of that 1 ring, that have yet to get that ring. And meanwhile, we've got Sean Waltman getting 2 rings. That is all I got to say about that. 2 other pieces of info I want to give to you guys before we get ready to wrap it up. I don't mind going an extra couple of minutes, but 2 more topics and then we're pretty much done. Tommaso Ciampa. I highly would encourage you guys to check out the Chasing the Glory podcast with Lillian Garcia. Tommaso Ciampa is great. I listened to it. I love reading the transcripts too. So Lillian's pretty good. I like listening to her from time to time, depending on the guest. She had Tommaso Ciampa on there, and one of the topics that was brought up was, hey, about you coming up to the main roster. And he pretty much said, no. I am not interested in coming up to the main roster. And I know a couple of years back, we had the mock draft, and I remember Tommaso Ciampa was a guy I had said, hey, put him on SmackDown. I think he would thrive. Don't put him on Raw because he's going to get lost. especially with his height and all that. Nah, keep him on SmackDown. But he said that as far as him going to Raw and SmackDown, it's not happening. He has actually fought it a couple of times now. And to the point, he said that if they ever did decide to try to put him on Raw or SmackDown, he would just go on ahead and retire from in-ring competition. And if anything, try to be in a backstage role, try to be a WWE producer or whatnot. As far as he's concerned, the schedule for either one of those shows, it's just too much for him physically. He's beaten up as it is. I like the transparency. I like the brutal honesty of that. He knows that, nah, man, I go on the road. I'm on one of those shows, even if it's a limited Randy Orton schedule. No, I'm going to get seriously beaten up, right? And you look at that serious neck injury that he got that took him out for several months. You're like, damn, if he doesn't come back, wow. But somehow he was able to come back. A lot of us, I don't know, man. In-ring career return. Don't think about that right now. Just some of us kind of were going, yeah, he's done. But he came back. He defied the odds, and here he is once again and everything. So, I mean, yeah, for the type of style that he's been doing all of these years, I got a lot of respect because it takes a real man to admit their limitations. And that's something you just can't, you can't shit on that. You can't shit on him for, it's one thing, you're being scared or you're, just brutal fucking honesty. I love that. Check it out, though. It was a great interview. One last thing I want to touch upon, then we'll get ready to wrap it up here. ACH, aka Jordan Mao. So you all know that back November 13th, he pretty much was granted his release from the WWE. Everything stemmed from that whole racist t-shirt controversy and everything. A lot of stuff that he put out there on social media, going back and forth with the fans. It got so toxic. The stuff that he was putting out there, the videos, all of that. It got to a point where he even said something about Jay Lethal, and this just made a ton of people in the wrestling industry, and I know we have people out there that when it comes to race relations and all of that, if it can fit their narrative, they are so jumping on that and they don't want to hear, what they want to hear, right? But the one thing that you cannot deny is that when he took the massive shit that he took on Jay Lethal, a lot of people kind of feeling him a certain way. Okay, yeah, feel where you're coming from. Yeah, man, for the culture. Yeah. Once he started taking the shits that he took on Jay Lethal, don't take my word for it. Go look at his own respected peers. Decent amount of these peers, black. Hey, man. Worked with Jay Lethal, known Jay Lethal for blah, blah, blah. One of the coolest fucking dudes that's out there. What the hell are you talking about? Blah, 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 blah. And you're like, what the hell? It's so random, too. It's like, why are you bringing up Jay Lethal? Like, Jay Lethal ain't got nothing to do with WWE. What the hell? So, for whatever respected reason, he decided to bring up Jay Lethal. And this was weird because he gets released from WWE. And then he returned to MLW. This is a promotion that I enjoy talking about now on the shows, particularly on Wednesdays. So he returned to MLW last week because they had an event that they were holding. It was the Opera Cup tournament. And there was also some TV tapings that they were doing at the Melrose Ballroom, where he teamed up with former MMA fighter King Mo against Injustice. That consists of Jordan Oliver and Cotto Brazil. That's going to be airing on a future episode of MLW Fusion, which you guys can watch on BN Sports and on MLW's YouTube channel. And MLW had put out a press release. They were hyping him up on the website, all of that shit, talking about how he was going to be competing at MLW's Dallas event, MLW 0 Hour, at the NY Tech Sports Center in Dallas, Fort Worth on Saturday, January 11th. So you're like, okay, all right, he's making his moves. He's getting signed at a couple of other promotions. Oh, okay, all right, great. And then all of a sudden, just randomly, he puts out this tweet taking a massive shit on the entire pro wrestling industry, also takes a massive shit on the wrestling fans, right? And you're going, whoa, wait a minute here. What the hell? So, and I'm most curious, the same people that were trying to vilify me and, oh no, you're taking his words out of context and blah this and blah that, right? You same people that were standing up for him and everything, very quiet now because, and I quote, this is what he said, Jordan Mouse, I hate pro wrestling. I hate you shitty fans that think you know it all. More importantly, I hate the snakes in this industry. None of y'all would never say anything about me. All of y'all can go screw yourselves. I'm canceling my shows and I'm quitting pro wrestling. Shad Gaspard of Crime Time, one of the first to jump out there, said, grow up and understand the world doesn't revolve around you. This business as well as life doesn't cater to one individual. So either suck it up and do something or shut the fuck up, because this bipolar crying shit is getting old. One fan, actually not a fan, but I'm not going to even read his name because I can't stand that dude. But he said, you can't have it both ways. Either he has a mental illness or needs to suck it up. Shad countered that and said, the amount of us who have tried to help as well as support is abundant. At some point, personal responsibility, integrity, common sense has to come into play. So, that's pretty much where we are right now with all of that. And he did elaborate a bit more on why he said what he had said about Jay Lethal and everything, and why he called him specifically Uncle Tom and all that. So he's let it be no secret that as far as his time in Ring of Honor, yeah, he didn't enjoy it one little bit. He did not enjoy working with Jay Lethal. Apparently the moment where him and Lethal were at odds was an incident occurred where Lethal slapped him in the face at either a hotel room or in front of his peers in the locker room. Because the way he tells the story, one minute you're going, oh, okay, so this happened at a hotel. Oh, okay. Wait, okay, so this happened in the locker room. Wait, which one is it? So it's a little confusing right there, but basically Lethal slapped him for using the N-word when ACH claims that Jay Lethal himself uses the N-word, like repeatedly, right? Like it's almost regularly in his vocabulary or whatever. And Jimmy Jacobs was trying to be the peacemaker and all that and said to ACH, hey man, go make peace with Jay Lethal, apologize, squash this, let this be water under the bridge, let's get back to business. Come on, man, we need unity here. So ACH tried to do the right thing, tried to be the bigger man, apologize and everything. Jay Lethal did not apologize for hitting him, and pretty much ever since that day, it's been, well, fuck you, Jay Lethal. Now, I'm going to tell you guys this, because I know we got a lot of hardcore ACH fans out there. And as I always say to you guys, there's one story, there's the other story. Somewhere in that middle, there's the absolute truth, and we're never going to know what the absolute truth is. And as it stands right now, Jay Lethal has yet to put out some type of a statement to recall, okay, no, let me tell you what really went down, and here it is from my side. This is what all had happened. So those that maybe were at this, if it did happen in front of the locker room, maybe there are those that will eventually come forward and, okay, so this is what actually had happened, or unless Jay says something, but even at that, we're still never really going to know what had happened. But what I'm more interested in is, and I'm not going to go Dr. Phil, right? I'm not trying to go Dr. Phil, but to hear of an individual that goes, I'm tired of this wrestling promotion in the WWE, this racist fucking company, blah this, blah that, fuck this company. And okay, all right, yeah, hey, look, not for nothing, WWE, they're making their strides, they're doing what they can to put people of color, not just blacks, people of color in a better dominant position and everything. For God's sake, even if it was a transitional run, we just saw Kofi Kingston as the WWE champion. Let that sink in for a little bit, right? New Day, once again, tag champions, right? You got the Kabuki Warriors running around with the titles and everything. You've got Ricochet moving up the ranks. You got Humberto Carrillo moving up the ranks. You got Rey Mysterio as your United States champion and everything, right? So you got all of these great things that's going on from a minority standpoint. And then you can go look at NXT. Look at some of the stuff that's happening down there. Keith Lee, who has a really good, promising, bona fide main event career whenever he moves up and everything, right? You can go to MLW and you can look at some of the guys over there. There's so many promotions you can go look at and be like, hey, look at these minorities that's moving up. And okay, all right, maybe some stuff that we don't know with regards to the WWE. Okay, man. All right, we'll give you that benefit of doubt. All right, so here's your opportunity to go work for other promotions and to go from 0 to 180. Just fuck pro wrestling, fuck the entire industry, fuck the fans. Wow. Just wow. I'm not going to say this man needs to get help. I'm not going to go in that direction. What I will say, and he wants to talk about none of you guys, to my face. Well, that's the beautiful thing about me. What I say on these shows, unlike some people, what I say on these shows, what I say on social media, I speak from the heart, and I speak as if you and me are kicking back at a bar, we're having drinks, we're shooting the shit. And what I would say to ACH, hey man, did you really fall out of love with pro wrestling? Has things gotten that ugly that you don't want to have anything to do with the business right now? Because if things have gotten that ugly, and some of the dealings that you've been having with X amount of promotions, if it's left you that much of a bitter taste in your mouth right now, then yeah, man, maybe a step back, breathe a little bit, go do some traveling, spend some time with the family for the holidays and all that. Maybe that would do the body, mind, soul some good. Do it. But most importantly, the pursuit of happiness. Do whatever makes you happy. I will tell anybody this until the day I die, and I've had told anybody this. I've told my friends, I've told my family. Whenever I get the swan song of, oh, I can't stand my job. Oh, this job is this. Oh, this job is that. Okay, well, you don't like what's going on? We'll change it. Change your position. Change your view. Go find another place to work. Who said you had to accept this? And you have people that'll just talk a really good game, and all they are is talk. It'll make all the excuses in the world why they can't do X, Y, Z. But then you'll have some people that will, yeah, you know what, you're right. It's just really about me finding that right opportunity. And trust me, I'm looking, I'm timing it just right. When that ship comes, I'm on it. I'm out of here. And that's how you have to do it. That's how you have to do it. I've always been a firm believer, right? And even if you don't like me, because I have my anti Lee Sanders fans that's out there that don't like me. Even if you don't like me, you know that what I'm saying at this point rings true. When you're not happy with your job, that is the most toxic environment that you can be in, because you're taking all that animosity, you're taking all of that spite, you're taking all of that hate that's going on with you at work, and you're bringing it home, and you're putting it on your family members, and they're feeding off of that negative energy. And so it's channeling out. And I've always been a firm believer, what happens at work, once you're off the clock, that is it. You're not thinking about, it's time for you to spend your quality time with your family and decompress, let loose, and worry about work the next day. Once you're off the clock, you've clocked out, and you've already left the building, that's it. That place is behind you, right? And when you get to the point where, work is not fun anymore, you're not enjoying working with your colleagues, your supervisors, management, and all that other shit, when it just feels like it's starting to become a nightmare, right? And you start asking yourself, why am I doing this again? Then, yeah, that's when it's really time to take a step back, reevaluate everything that's going on in your life, and figure out, okay, so what do I want? I've had that conversation with myself at a few different stages in my life, and I can tell you, I'm very happy right now. I've had an amazing job in marketing the past 10 years almost, and I've met some of the coolest people, made some of the nicest friends, and, you know, he's still a young man. And this is my whole thing. You know, if you're still young, it's going to take you a good minute. You know, usually by the time you're about 35, 36, 37, you pretty much already have, at that point, if you've had a few different jobs of trade over the years, you get to that point around that age where you go, okay, this is what I'm going to settle into, and I'm going to ride this out. You know, I can do this until I'm in my 50s, 60s. I think I can do this until it's time for me to retire, right? So, I really hope that the young man can just honestly enjoy this break, enjoy this time with his family and his loved ones, and, just worry about the holidays. Just worry about getting gifts for the family and all that. And then after the holidays is over, just, do some traveling and try to figure out, okay, so what do I want to do with myself? Where do I see myself going in the next 3 months? What's the game plan for the next 6 months? And then just pretty much go from there. Right? But just most important thing, do what makes you happy. And that's my biggest advice to anybody. For it doesn't just apply to work. Whatever's just going on with your life in general, and you think it's shitty and it ain't really going nowhere, do what makes you happy, man. That's the best advice I can give. So Godspeed to him. I told you guys with regards to race relations and all that, I'm not talking about that on the show. Race relations, religion, politics, I'm not talking about that on the show. But to see what he has said today, I was a little bit kind of, wow. You got your wish, you're out of there. All right, you got your clean slate. Damn, okay, that sucks. Hey, I did poll you guys on Twitter and YouTube asking you guys what did you all think about Monday Night Raw tonight. And before we roll out, I'm seeing right now that we got a tie on the Twitter poll. 50% tie. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Let's see what you guys are saying on YouTube here. Let me pull up the YouTube Communities tab here. And I've been paying attention to the time the entire time. I just didn't mind going into a little bit of overtime here. Let's see what we got here, because I'm actually feeling pretty good. Let's see if I can get this poll up. Yeah, my YouTube poll is not coming up on the tablet here. So let me actually see if I can get it on the other device here. And if I can get it on the other device, we'll be good to go here, because I do want to recognize the poll on YouTube. And if you guys want to cast your vote, head over to the YouTube community tab. You can cast your vote over there. Yeah, it's still early, but right now I'm seeing 88% thumbs down, 12% thumbs up. I usually kind of trust the poll on Twitter a little bit more because it kind of seems a little bit more accurate, but again, it's still early. We'll follow up on Wednesday, see what you guys have to say about that poll. Hey, before we get ready to wrap it up, I do want to recognize some of our sponsors, and I also want to recognize some of our Patreon members. Shout out to our good, kind Patreon members, man. Patreon.com/RCWR show. Check out bonus audio, video content, great majority of which you won't be able to find anywhere else. Anytime there is talk about, and I can tell you with regards to that NWA Into the Fire pay-per-view event, I will be doing a post show for that, but it's only going to be available to our Patreon members only. So $5 a month, get access to bonus audio, video content like that NWA Into the Fire. But shout out to Patreon members: Sean Kenter, Justin Ripstock, Anthony Missionary Thomas of Wrestling Soup. Shout out to Tony Bing Gaming. Shout out to Freddie R. Freddie. Shout out to Michael Wolf. Shout out to John Davis. Shout out to John Krauser. Shout out to Joe Raymond Jr. John Krauser, he's doing this thing at the Second City. Once again, he's doing a holiday edition of Brain Freak Live. Do a Bing or Google search. Type in John Krauser, Krauser. John Krauser, Second City. Do that in the Bing, Google search. You'll be able to find a link. If you're going to be in the Chicago area, check it out. Tickets, very cheap. Tickets have been doing very well, too, as far as the selling out and all that go for the show. So nice to know that everything is moving along with that pretty good. And yeah, once again, shout out to our Patreon members. Also, special shout out to some of our sponsors for tonight's episode. Shout out to Screaming Bulls 1. Have you checked him out yet? He's a fantastic wrestling sculptor. If you need custom figures or bust made, check him out. He is on Twitter at Screaming Bulls 1, the actual number 1, Screaming Bulls 1. Phenomenal guy. We're also brought to you in part by ResumeWritingAndMore.com. Learn how to write better resumes and get better results with landing job interviews and meeting hiring managers. ResumeWritingAndMore.com. The RCWR show with Lee Sanders is also brought to you in part by LeafyAssets.com. If you are a real estate investor or entrepreneur, they can help protect your assets and strategically grow your business. We are also brought to you in part by President Evil. Days before the November midterm elections, 3 young girls are stalked by a deranged killer dressed as the President of the United States. So part suspense, thriller, comedy, dark humor, all rolled into one. Check out the trailer, buy the movie, all on Amazon. And we're also brought to you in part by FullCirclePharmacy.com. You spell that FullCircle, F as in fudge. ARMACY.com. I gotta say, oh fudge, a Christmas Story reference. All their products are 100% organic and pesticide free. All of their products are legal in all 50 states. If you're looking for the best 100% organic and pesticide free CBD hemp products, that's the place you want to go to, FullCirclePharmacy.com. And I believe that is all of our lovely sponsors for tonight. We appreciate all of those guys. We appreciate all of you that checked out tonight's live edition. So the programming schedule for this week, I'm going to be back live with you guys Wednesday night, December the 11th. I will be on after NXT and AEW goes off the air. So we'll do that. We'll be talking Impact Wrestling. We'll be talking AEW. We'll be talking NXT. We'll be talking Ring of Honor. We'll have a little bit of New Japan Pro Wrestling news sprinkled in there as well. So for you guys that maybe are not aware, that's the more well-rounded show. Like once we get the Raw and all that out the way on the Monday nights and yeah, the Wednesday shows, we really go a little bit more all over the place. So check out the Wednesday shows as well if you enjoyed the Monday show. Good shit. And Friday, I am going to do a SmackDown post show, but the SmackDown post show, I don't know just yet. I think what I'm probably going to end up doing, I think I'm going to give you guys one more SmackDown show. And then what is sadly going to happen, the SmackDown show is actually going to become a Patreon exclusive. Patreon will be an exclusive. Ring of Honor, Final Battle. No, Gino, no, because I'm like this. If you guys want me to check out other pay-per-views, sadly, that's going to cost me money. And this is my whole deal. If you pledge on Patreon $10 or more, and it's, hey, Lee, I'm hoping that with this, you can check out, some of the, because I told you guys my expenses already, and I've got a wedding to prepare for. I mean, I'm not trying to say this to make you guys feel guilty or anything like that, but, I've got to deal with mortgage. I've got to deal with 2 car insurances. I've got to deal with coming up with in less than 6 months, mind you, I've got to come up with $15,000 to cover the wedding and to cover the honeymoon and to cover when we're going to be traveling that whole week. And on top of that, I got to deal with show expenses. So yeah, I am really, and I'm saying that cold-heartedly, no bullshit. I am being perfectly very candid with you guys. Unless it's a case where, because that's usually the way we operate with our Patreon audience. Our Patreon audience pretty much dictate what we're going to be covering, right? So take for instance, I may say, hey, look, we're thinking about doing this, you guys good, give us your feedback. And, usually we can pretty much, okay, all right, let's jump out there. So unless somebody pledges like $10 and up and it's, hey, look, I'm hoping that with my pledge, you can actually kind of cover this more because I want to hear your thoughts about this product or et cetera, then that's what's going to happen. But otherwise, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm already doing. But yeah, the NWA Into the Fire, that is going to be a Patreon exclusive. The SmackDown recaps, I honestly, I think that's going to go on ahead and that's going to be a Patreon exclusive because, truth be told, Friday nights, I could tell a lot of people after they get done with SmackDown, they really don't want to hop live and check out a recap. And I've been paying attention to that, how that show on Friday nights has been doing on the downloads and everything. And for me, and I appreciate everybody that had casted their votes a couple of months back, but it just doesn't warrant the production of doing the webcast version. So, for those of you that maybe want to do the SmackDown recaps, I will do SmackDown recaps. It'll be audio versions, and the audio versions will just be for our Patreon members only. And I may entertain at a later date of maybe releasing them, as a free-for-all, maybe like once a month or something like that. But as far as like on a consistent basis, yeah, because my schedule right now, and again, I'm not saying this to make anybody feel bad. I'm just being very honest with you. That's all I'm doing. My schedule right now between work and everything else, I've got to really, because my girl was telling me she's feeling like she's planning the wedding alone. And that's the last thing I want her to feel. So I really want to, all the free time I have, I really want to be sitting there with her and, do everything I can to, okay, we're partners in this. What are you thinking? So I want to free myself up a little bit more is the point that I'm making when it comes to doing some of those SmackDown recaps. So I hope you guys can understand. And I do appreciate you all's patience and time and all that. Meantime, get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. And I will see you guys Wednesday. Oh my God, we didn't get into TLC, did we? I totally forgot about TLC. And how did we title this episode for tonight? Did we say TLC in there? Let me look at the episode description. No, we didn't mention TLC. Okay, good. So what we'll do then, we'll give WWE an extra day or so to announce more matches. And then when we come back Wednesday, we'll look at the card then for TLC. And I'll give you guys my projected winners and all that on that edition. Okay. So Wednesday, we got that show. And then Saturday, we got the Into the Fire pay-per-view recap. And then Sunday, we're going to have the WWE TLC post show. So a lot more content that's going to be coming you guys' way. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use keywords, the RCWR show. Those of you going to be waiting for the audio version of this, it will not be available until Tuesday night. Heavily edited too, because I'm going to be editing the audio version for about, I would say I'll probably edit it for about an hour 15, maybe an hour 20. And you guys want to hear the rest, you'll just have to go on the YouTube channel and check out the rest of the show. All right. Much love, guys. Appreciate you all that's checking this out live. And those of you that's going to be checking this out on demand and on the downloads. Much love. Good night. Good morning.